Hey, what's up, guys? Today, I'll show you a thriller action film, Revenge. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. A couple, Richard and Jennifer, get down from a helicopter and arrive at a house in the middle of the desert. Jennifer goes inside the house. The pilot tells Richard to call him if he needs anything and gives something to him, saying that it's a welcome gift. Richard heads inside the house and sees Jennifer waiting for him in the bedroom. At night, Richard receives a call and gets out of the room. It turns out that Richard already has a wife and kids, and they are planning for their wedding. After the call, Richard goes back inside the room and lies down on the bed with Jennifer. She is sulking because she knows that she is only a mistress. Richard tells her that it would be simpler if he and his wife didn't have kids, and if Jennifer weren't sexy. Richard continues to joke around to make Jennifer smile. The next morning, Jennifer walks out of the room to eat. She bites an apple and drops it along with a glass of water when she sees two men with large firearms staring at her from outside. She calls for Richard. He questions why they're here, seeming to know them. The men let themselves in. After the men put down their belongings, Richard introduces to her the two men named Stan and Dave. Richard associates with Jennifer, saying that she's just a friend. The two are attracted to her, but Jennifer leaves to take a shower. Stan asks about Richard's wife, and Richard answers that Jennifer will be leaving tomorrow. They have a pool party until night. The next scene shows Stan and Jennifer talking, while Dave is peeping at her hormones through a pair of binoculars. Richard comes back with drinks. Dave sees the gift that the pilot gave, and they ask Richard what it is. He answers that it's peyote, a very strong hallucinogenic substance, that those using it won't be able to feel anything. Dave tries to take it, but Richard takes it back and tells them that surely an accident might happen if they use it, because they also have weapons. Richard tells them a story that there was a time when someone used it and sawed his own leg off without feeling anything and died because he lost all of his blood. Richard gives it to Jennifer and tells her to hide it somewhere safe. She goes to keep it in her locket. Then she turns on the speakers. She then starts dancing and arousing them. She wants to dance with Richard, but he declines, so she tells Stan to dance with her. The next day, Jennifer wakes up and doesn't see Richard. She goes out of the room and Stan greets her. She sees that breakfast is already prepared. Stan says that Richard isn't around because he went out to give their passports to the gamekeeper. He also adds that Dave has a hangover, which means that it will only be the two of them all morning. Jennifer awkwardly smiles, then takes out her phone as Stan looks at her. She says that she will start packing her things. After a shower, she dresses up while Stan is peeping at her through the door gap. She turns around and gets surprised when she sees Stan peeking. Stan apologizes for scaring her and says that he is regretful because he and Jennifer didn't get to know each other better. Stan gives his calling card to her and tells her to call him when she can. Jennifer answers that she might not have time because of work, which offends Stan. He laughs and then asks her what she didn't like about him. She answers that he is too short for her, both his figure and sausage. Stan asks Jennifer again if his height has changed since yesterday because she was arousing him last night. She tries to go out of the room, but Stan stops her as he puts his clean hand inside her smelling underwear. Jennifer tells Stan that Richard will be back soon, but Stan could care less, wanting to continue his bad intentions. The door is suddenly opened by Dave, making Stan stop. Stan tells him to leave if he doesn't want to join them. Jennifer cries, while Dave continues eating. After a while, Dave closes the door, leaving Stan to continue with his bad intentions with Jennifer. Dave opens the TV, so he won't hear her screams. He then goes out to swim. Later, Richard gets back home. Stan approaches him and says that there is a problem with Jennifer. Richard goes into the room and sees Jennifer crying. Having a great idea of what happened, Richard tells her to calm down, as he will take care of everything. He heads out and confronts Stan about what he did. After a while, Jennifer wakes up and sees Richard. He tells her that he fixed everything, and he found her a job in Canada, giving her a check and saying that the money will be transferred to her account. Jennifer refuses and says that she wants to go home, but Richard says that it's not possible. So she threatens him that if he doesn't call the helicopter, she will tell everything to his wife. Richard gets mad and slaps her, telling her never to threaten him. She runs outside, and Richard chases after her. The two men see them, so they also run after her. After a long run, Jennifer has nowhere to go at the edge of a cliff. She thinks about jumping, but Richard tells her to stop. He apologizes for slapping her and tells her that he will call the pilot. After Richard fake dials the pilot to reschedule her pickup, he suddenly pushes her down the cliff, making her puncture her stomach in a broken tree. Stan asks why Richard did that. He answers that the three of them could be imprisoned for 15 years if anyone finds out about their job. Richard tells them that they will continue their hunt as planned and take care of Jennifer on their way to hunting. When they arrive home, Richard burns all of Jennifer's belongings as they prepare their weapons. Stan apologizes to Richard about what happened to Jennifer, but he pretends that he doesn't know her. On the other hand, Jennifer is still stuck on the tree with blood all over her as ants crawl on her blood. She tries to reach for her earphones and use them to get her the lighter. She gathers branches below her and lights them on fire. After a while, the tree breaks as she hears vehicles approaching her. She struggles to move, but manages to crawl and hide from Richard and the others. It surprises Stan that Jennifer is no longer there. He tells Richard that someone might have seen her and they should look for her and take her to the hospital, telling him to say that it was just an accident. Richard gets mad at Stan and says that he shouldn't be scared of her, as she's already dying and the three of them are armed. They then get in their vehicles to look for her. It's already nighttime when they get down the cliff. They look around where she fell and she is no longer there. They see the blood on the rock and realize that Jennifer hid below them a while ago. Dave sees the tracks of her footsteps, so they follow them. After a while, they reach a river, but they can't see any more blood tracks. On the other hand, Jennifer is walking in a river when she hears a vehicle approaching. She swims down the river to hide as Dave passes by. After a while, she comes out of the river and sees Dave peeing. She hides behind a rock and sees Dave put down his gun. She slowly approaches to reach for the gun and points it at him. Jennifer tries to fire it, but the gun has no bullets. Dave takes the gun and hits her with it, saying that he's not an idiot to just leave a loaded gun on the floor. He communicates with the others, saying that he has Jennifer and will go back to Stan's location. After that, Dave drowns Jennifer, but she's able to get Dave's knife, brutally stabbing him in both eyes. Dave screams in pain. After a few moments, he stops and starts floating in the river, completely lifeless. She takes out the knife in Dave's eye as he sinks. Jennifer drives off using Dave's motorcycle until it runs out of gas. She then walks to a cave and makes a fire. She inspects Dave's backpack, grabbing and drinking a beer. She is still wounded, so she cries because she can't handle the pain. Moments later, Jennifer sees her locket, where she hid the peyote substance. She chews one, which helps her alleviate her pain. After that, she studies how to use a gun. The substance starts taking effect, causing her to hallucinate. She slices the can of beer and then makes it flat. She rips her shirt and then starts removing the wood splinters stuck on her wound as she doesn't feel anything. She heats up the beer can that she flattened, then puts it on the wound. Jennifer then heads to sleep. The next morning, Stan is sleeping in his car. Richard suddenly throws a dead wild animal on the windshield to terrify him. Stan tells Richard that it's been hours since Dave contacted them. Richard tries to contact Dave using his radio as Stan pees and cleans himself in the river. While he washes his face, Dave's lifeless body is seen floating. As Richard takes Dave's body out of the water, Stan gets infuriated at him because of what's happening. Richard only tells Stan to help him with Dave's body. Stan gets out and blames Richard for why Dave died. They throw Dave back into the river. As they are walking back to their vehicles, Richard punches Stan for blaming him, breaking his nose. While the two are driving, Jennifer wakes up from her sleep and sees that her wound is no longer bleeding since she burned it last night using the can. She picks up her weapons. While she walks out of the cave, Richard suddenly appears with a shotgun pointed at her, shooting her in the head. She screams, and it turns out that it was just a dream caused by the hallucinogenic substance. She walks again, but Richard appears, shooting her again. Jennifer finally wakes to reality. She carries all her weapons and then walks outside of the cave. She uses the binoculars to see if someone is coming after her. On the other hand, Stan and Richard are also looking for Jennifer. They find the motorcycle that she stole. Richard says it will be easier to look for her since she now doesn't have a vehicle to use. Stan gets the map and Richard plans where they will split up to search around. Stan thinks that it's best if they don't split up as they might get lost, but Richard refuses since they both know the forest well. They then part ways to search for Jennifer. After a while, Jennifer sees Stan's car, but he doesn't see her, so she decides to follow the car. Shortly after, Stan's car runs out of fuel. He goes to refill the tank, while Jennifer is waiting for the right moment to shoot, but she's still hallucinating and can't aim properly. She takes a shot and hits Stan on the shoulder. She hides, but when she looks back, she can't see Stan anymore. She decides to get closer to Stan's car. She sees the blood track from Stan's wound and follows it. Jennifer continues to walk forward, but Stan is no longer walking that way. He hides behind the mountain. Stan loads his rifle. The moment he sees Jennifer, he strugglingly aims at her and shoots, but only hits her in the ear. It knocks her down, but she's still able to run. Stan chases after her while shooting. She takes the flashlight from her waist and breaks its glass. Stan doesn't see the broken glass and steps on it, tumbling down. After many attempts, he manages to remove the shards of broken glass on his foot. Stan is trying hard to start his car as his foot is wounded. When the car starts, he drives it furiously to chase after her. Jennifer stops running, waiting for Stan's car. She takes a few failed shots, then finally shoots Stan in the head, killing him. She then drives off using Stan's car. Meanwhile, Richard is trying to communicate with Stan using the radio. Moments after trying to talk to Stan and getting no response, he gets up out of rage and then drives off. Night comes, and Richard is still driving. He decides to head home. Richard arrives in the morning and dips his head in the pool. He gets inside and sits on the couch as he calls the pilot. He lies, saying that he dropped off Stan and Dave at the airport. He then asks the pilot if he can pick him up at his house as soon as possible. The pilot answers that he will be there in half an hour. Richard takes off his clothes and takes a bath. Moments later, he hears something outside. He picks up his gun and searches around the house, but sees no one. He gets back inside and sits on the couch. The TV suddenly turns on. As he's about to turn it off, he sees Jennifer from outside, aiming a gun at him. Richard tries explaining himself, but Jennifer shoots him in the stomach. He hides behind the couch while they exchange gunshots rather than hormones. Richard crawls to hide, and Jennifer follows his blood tracks. She is about to cross, but sees blood flowing from the corner, so she decides to cross from the other side. But when she reaches the living room, Richard is no longer there. The two go in circles around the house until Jennifer hears a noise coming from the living room. She knows that Richard is there, so they exchange gunshots again until Richard runs out of bullets, but not his hormone bullet. They go in circles again, but Jennifer slips because of the blood all over the place. As she now can't get up instantly, Richard hits her with his gun. Richard chokes her. While Richard rambles, she sticks his hand in Richard's wound, causing him to let go of her out of pain. She then reaches for the gun as Richard tries to take it from her, but she is finally able to shoot him dead. Jennifer walks outside and goes to the edge of the pool, where she hears the helicopter arriving. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.